Okay, is it audible? Hare Krishna, is it audible to all of you?
Hare Krishna, yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Shake. So we are reading text 7 onwards. Shochayanimam swam adhikashtadinam vishtaya nigrahanan nir anugrahusi janasya goptasmi vikatha man na shobhate vridha sabhashu drishta. It is a fact, however, that these innocent people carrying your palanquin without payment are certainly suffering due to this injustice. Their condition is very lamentable because you have forcibly engaged them in carrying your palanquin. This proves that you are cruel and unkind. Yet, due to false prestige, you were thinking that you were protecting the citizens. This is ludicrous. You are such a fool that you could not have been adored as a great man in an assembly of persons advanced in knowledge. Purport. King Rahugana was proud of being a king, and he felt he had the right to control the citizens as he liked. He had the right to control the citizens as he liked. Uh, but actually, he was engaging men in carrying his palanquin without payment, and therefore he was causing them trouble without reason. Nonetheless, the king was thinking that he was the protector of the citizens. Actually, the king should be the representative of the Supreme Personality of God. For this reason, he is called as Nara Devata, the Lord among the human beings. However, when a king thinks that because he is the head of the state, he can utilize the citizens for his own sense gratification, he is in error. Such an attitude is not appreciated by learned scholars. According to the Vedic principles, the king should be advised by learned sages, brahmanas, and scholars who advised him according to the injunctions given in the Dharma Shastra. The duty of the king is to follow these instructions. Learned circles do not appreciate the king's utilizing public endeavor for his own benefit. His duty is to give protection to the citizens instead. The king should not become such a rogue that he exploits the citizens for his own benefit. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam that in Kali Yuga, the heads of the government will be plunderers and thieves. These thieves and plunderers take the money and property of the public by force or connivance Therefore, it is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Rajanye Nirgrahanayer Dasyu Dharmavi. As Kali Yuga advances, we can see that these characteristics are already visible. We can certainly imagine how deteriorated human civilization will be by the end of the Kali Yuga. Indeed, there will be no longer a sane man capable of understanding God and our relationship with Him. In other words, human beings should be just like animals. At that time, in order to reform human society, Lord Krishna will come. In the form of the Kalki avatar, his business will be to give all the details because ultimately the real protector is Vishnu or Krishna. The Lord incarnates and set things in order when things are mismanaged by the so-called heads, by the so-called kings and heads of government. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yada Yada Dharmasya Glanir Bhavati Bharata. Of course, this takes many years, but the principle is there. When the king or the government head does not follow the proper principles, nature deals out the punishments in the forms of war, famine, and so forth. Therefore, if the governmental head is not aware of the life's goal, he should not charge, he should not take charge of ruling the people. Actually, the supreme proprietor of everything is Lord Vishnu. He is the maintainer of everything. The king, the father, and the guardian are simply representatives of Lord Vishnu, empowered by him to look after the management and maintain things. It is therefore the duty of the head of the state to maintain the general populace in such a way that people will ultimately know the goal of life. Nade vidu swarthagatim Vishnu. Unfortunately, the foolish governmental head and the general populace do not know that the ultimate goal of life is to understand and approach Lord Vishnu. Without this knowledge, everyone is in ignorance. All the society is crowded with cheaters and cheated. We can try to understand a very important principle here. So it seems that Maharaj Raghugun was a pious personality, but as has been very explicitly described and pointed out by Maharaj Jadabharat himself, that this Maharaj Raghugun was forcibly engaging these palanquin carriers in his service just because he was a king, and he was not giving them payment also. He was not giving them any salary. He was saying, because I am representative of the Lord, so they should engage in my service. And this, Maharaj Jadabharat is pointing out, is great cruelty on his part. In this way, we can try to understand that even though a person may be a good man or so-called pious person, but still, if one is not under the guidance of saintly personalities, if one is not taking the instructions, if one is not reiterating the instructions of the scriptures, acharyas, then one is sure to get bewildered. So Maharaj Raghuvan was thinking that he's doing a pious activity because he's heading for a temple. But he was not understanding that in his thinking that he's a pious person, he was incriminating atrocities on others. So therefore, we can also understand that many times mode of goodness is not complete because in mode of goodness also there is exploitation. In mode of goodness also there is insensitivity. A person in the mode of goodness also can be exploitative and insensitive. And this is an example of that. That how a person in mode of goodness can also be insensitive and exploitative. See Maharaj Raghuvan, he was on a goodness venture. He was going to Goddess Kali's temple. But he was insensitive to the needs of his own citizens, the palanquin carriers. So this is called as false ego. That means false ego is very much prevalent in goodness also. It's not that false ego, goodness, the more goodness is very false ego. No, more goodness also there is ego, there is insensitivity, there is exploitation. Only as it goes from goodness to passion, it starts taking a more and more gruesome and horrible shape. That's the difference. But there is exploitation, goodness. So a person mode of goodness is also very proud. Person mode of ignorance and passion is also very proud. Person mode of goodness is proud of his learning and knowledge. Person mode of passion is proud of his success, his power. Person in mode of ignorance is proud of his deceitfulness, cunning and deceit. In general, it is explained he was a pious soul. He was not a bad person. In general, it is explained that Maharaj Raghuvan was a pious person. Moral goodness is always not 100%. 100% can only be pure goodness. That means beyond goodness. But more or less, he was not a bad. But even if one is less bad, still, even if one is less bad, still it's bad enough. So the less bad is also bad enough. And that's why we need constant spiritual guidance so as to be in a position where we don't uh, give trouble to others. Let's read further. Text 8. यदाशिता वे चराचरस्य विदामनिष्ठा प्रभवं च नित्यं तन्नामतो अन्य व्यवहारपूर्णं निरूप्यतां सत् क्रियाया अनुमेयम्. All of us on the surface of the globe are living entities in different forms. Some of us are moving and some not moving. All of us come into existence remain for some time, and are annihilated when the body is again mingled with the earth. We are all simply different transformations of the earth. Different bodies and capacities are simply transformations of the earth that exist in name only. For everything grows out of the earth, and when everything is annihilated, it again mingles with the earth. In other words, we are but dust, and we shall but be dust. Everyone can consider this point. In the Brahma Sutra, it is said, Tadananitvam Arabhamana Shabdadipya. This cosmic manifestation is a mixture of matter and spirit, but the cause is the Supreme Brahman, the Supreme Personality of God. Therefore, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, Idam hi Vishwam Bhagavad. The entire cosmic manifestation is but a transformation of the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But because of illusion, no one can appreciate that God is not different from the material world. Actually, he is not different. But this material world is simply a transformation of his different energies. Parasi Shakti Vividhaiva Shruyate. There are also other versions of this in the Vedas. Sarvam Kalam Idam Brahman. Matter and spirit are all not different from the Supreme Brahman, Bhagavan. Lord Shri Krishna confirms this statement in the Bhagavad Gita 7.4. Mebhinna Prakritir Ashtada. The material energy is Krishna's energy, but it is separated from him. The spiritual energy is also his energy, but it is not separated from him. When the material energy is engaged in the service of the Supreme Spirit, the so-called material energy is also transformed into spiritual energy. Just as iron rod becomes fire when placed in contact with fire. When we can understand by an analytical study that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of all causes, our knowledge is perfect. Simply understanding the transformations of different energies is partial knowledge. We must come to the ultimate cause. Na te vidu swarthagatim hi Vishnu. The knowledge of those who are not interested in knowing. The original cause of all emanations is never perfect knowledge. There is nothing in the phenomenal world that is not produced by the supreme energy of the Supreme Personality of God. Aromas from the earth are different scents manufactured and used for different purposes, but the original cause is the earth and nothing else. A water pot is made of earth, which can be used to carry water for some time. But ultimately, the pot is nothing but earth. Therefore, there is no difference between the pot and the original ingredient, the earth. It is simply a different transformation of the energy. Originally, the cause of the primary ingredient is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the varieties are only byproducts. In the Chandogya Upanishad, it is said, Yata Shami Dhanamrit Pindena Sarvam Mridmayam Vijanatam Syat Vacharam Dhanam Vicharunama Namadeyam Mritiketi Eva Satya. If one studies the earth, he naturally understands the byproducts of the earth. The Vedas therefore enjoin Yasmin Vignate Sarvamevam Vignatam Bhavanti Sundar Upanishad 1.3. If one simply understands the original cause Krishna, the cause of all causes, then naturally everything else is understood, although it may be presented in different varieties. By understanding the original cause of different varieties, one can understand everything. If we understand Krishna, the original cause of everything, we do not need to separately study the subsidiary varieties. Therefore, from the very beginning it is said, Satyam Param Dhimahi. One has to concentrate one's understanding on the supreme truth, Krishna or Vasudeva. The word Vasudeva indicates the supreme personality of Godhead, who is the cause of all causes. Matsthani sarva bhutani nachahati shavastita. This is a summary of the phenomenal and nominal philosophy. The phenomenal world depends on the nominal existence. Similarly, everything exists by virtue of the potency of the Supreme Lord. Although due to our ignorance, the Supreme Lord is not perceived in everything. Herein, Maharaj Jadabharat is explaining our identity. Maharaj Jadabharat explains that we were dust, we came from dust, and we are going to be dust. And during this journey, we keep collecting dust. Well, everything we collect gets reduced to dust and powder. So ultimate dust and powder only. So therefore, the material world is a very dusty journey. That is the point. And then Srila Prabhupada explains that when we understand our true identity, when we understand things as they are, then we can understand that the Supreme Lord is everywhere. It is only the Supreme Lord which is everywhere. Oh, Mr. How is it possible the Supreme Lord is everywhere? Everything else other than the Lord is visible. Yes, because these are illusory waves. And these waves of illusion subside. And when these waves of illusion are lost, what remains is the Supreme Lord. And even when these waves of illusion are at the high tide, it is simply blocking our vision. But what is there behind is the Supreme Lord always. So interestingly, this material world is a perfect example to learn great lessons from. So, what lessons we can learn from material world? Material world, do we get intoxicated? Yes, that's true. But material world is a great place that we can learn the lesson that anything and everything in this material world, you see, anything and everything, the lesson what we can learn is anything and everything which is separated from Krishna, anything and everything which is separated from Krishna disintegrates in due process. And that is the lesson we can learn. And anything which is separate from Krishna cannot sustain. It disintegrates. It merges into the oblivion. So therefore, in this material world, things start on a very big note, but nothing sustains. Because the sustaining principle is the Samvit Shakti of the Lord. The sustaining principle is a connection to the Lord. And therefore, without the connection to the Supreme Lord, nothing can sustain. And therefore, this material world is a perfect example to see that even though there may be a perfect display of such a panoramic energy, which is so captivating and irresistible, but this display gets reduced to dust and powder within no time because Krishna is not being highlighted in the forefront. So therefore, anywhere we look around in the material world, one can understand this principle. And that is why great philosophers and yogis have simply observed the material nature and learned so many lessons, which have given them such confidence and determination and clarity of diving towards lotus feet of the Supreme. That is the point. Diving towards lotus feet of the Supreme. So material nature is like that. And material nature can teach us a lot of lessons. Only problem comes when we dive into this wave of illusion. If we don't dive and simply watch, we can learn a lot of lessons. But if we dive, then we get intoxicated and overwhelmed. Then we get over. Just like as long as one is on the beach, one can relate to sea waves and the scenery and the waves are coming, waves are going. But one goes into the sea, it can be risky. The waves can be overwhelming. And one stands the risk to get drowned. If one goes too deep, one stands a sure chance to get drowned. That's what mental energy is. Little bit we fiddle, it appears to be very exciting and thrilling, just like sea waves, but very risky. More we fiddle, we're finished. That's what mental energy is. More we fiddle, we are finished. That's how the mental energy is. Let's read further. Text 9. एवं निरुक्तं शिपिशब्दवृत्तं आसन्निधानात् परमानभूये अविद्यया वाञ्छाकल्पितस्ते येषां समूहेन कृतो विशेषः. One may say that varieties arise from the planet Earth itself. However, although the universe may temporarily appear to be the truth, it ultimately has no real existence. The Earth was originally created by a combination of atomic particles, but these particles are impermanent. Actually, the atom is not the cause of the universe, although some philosophers think so. It is not a fact that the varieties found in this material world simply result from atomic juxtaposition or combination. It is not a fact that the varieties found in this material world simply result from atomic juxtaposition or combination. Those who follow the atomic theory think that the protons and electrons of atoms combine in such a way as to bring all the material existence into being. However, the scientists fail to discover the cause of the atomic existence itself. Under these circumstances, we cannot accept the atom to be the cause of the universe. Such theories are advanced by unintelligent people. According to real intelligence, the real cause of the cosmic manifestation is the Supreme Lord. Janmadhyasya. He is the original cause of all the creation. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 10.8, Aham sarvasya prabhuvo sarvam pravartat. Krishna is the original cause. Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the cause of all the causes. Krishna is the cause of atoms, the material energy. So Bhagavad Gita 7.4 says, Bhumirapo nalo mayu tammano buddhirepa cha ahankara iti yume na prakritirashya. The ultimate cause is a supreme personality of Godhead. Only those in ignorance try to find out other causes by posing different theories. And the Prabhupada is evaluating this beautiful point, or this beautiful argument that all this variegatedness is coming from the earth. See, what is the reason behind this kind of a statement? Just because the earth looks to be too vast, and therefore one may say that okay, the just because something is too vast from our perspective does not mean it is the source of everything. Just like there is this proverb that the blind are going to elect a one-eyed person as the leader. Andho mein kana Raja. He will not be Raja, he will not be the most smart person, but only relatively it appears that this person is very intelligent. The same point. So therefore, in general, people are intoxicated by sense gratification. So somebody can go a little out of sense gratification and can view sense gratification from a little outside perspective and can philosophize sense gratification. He's considered to be very intelligent just because he has gone out and has taken the time and sense control to go out and see it and philosophize it. And that is why the people say, speaking about philosophy, a philosophy centered around self gratification and animalism uh, is no good, is in no way higher than direct engagement in sense gratification. So, in that sense, uh, this idea so in that sense, Prabhupada is taking that reasoning only forward. Prabhupada is saying that okay, people who say that everything is coming from the earth and then earth means earth is a combination of so many atoms, and therefore atom is the principle that is the creation of the universe, or atom is responsible for the creation of the universe. And Prabhupada says such people are unintelligent people. Such people are unintelligent. Why they are unintelligent? Because although they have gone a little out, but their vision is focused on the same. Therefore, they are unintelligent. So when consciousness goes higher, a person is supposed to look something else. So just to take an example, uh, just like say for example, uh, say for example, a person is walking on the road. A person is walking on the road and he's looking down on the ground. And therefore, he hits another man or he hits a pole. A person is sorry, I did not see. So, okay, it is sorry that he did not see, but the point is that such a person, uh, okay, it is sorry that he did not see, but the point is that such a person is unintelligent because he has the capacity to see, but he has not utilized his vision. So, he's a person simply walking, looking on the ground. Even an ant can understand what's happening in the ground, or even a creature which crawls around can see what is happening on the ground. But a person, a human being is given a higher facility that one can understand what's happening on the ground, but one can understand what's happening in front and what's happening a little bit around also, on both sides, left and right. And therefore, one can have that holistic vision simply by walking. But one who is simply looking on the ground only, even though one has facility to look around, is unintelligent. It's a suboptimal usage of a facility which is given. So, human life facility is given. But if one is simply uh, so if a person is drinking was foolish, no doubt. The person who's taking intoxicants is foolish. But person who is uh, a person who is simply observing and doing analysis and observation and passing on results is equally foolish, if not more. Because although he is not in an intoxicated state, but his focus is okay, how people are taking intoxicant and getting intoxicated. Getting intoxicated is bad, but just making models of how people take intoxication and get intoxicated equally bad. So what is to be done? Only the direction of the vision has to change. The direction of vision and research is not that okay, this intoxicant, this is how this intoxicant intoxicates, and this is how people get intoxicated. And there's no use of that kind of research. Research should be how to get out of intoxication, how not to fall trap to intoxication in the first place only, how to eradicate all mentality of feeling attraction towards intoxication. That is substantial research. So therefore, if one is simply focused on researching on atoms, Prabhupada is saying that's unintelligence because one is not looking any further. Philosophy means a long lasting vision, a higher vision, and that vision should be towards how to get out of the intoxication, the imprisonment, the punishment, the suffering, not how the model of suffering works. Not how much the suffering was working before and now how much it is working, and tomorrow how much, and tomorrow how much it will work. There is no other work other than suffering. That has been declared. So that's why so the Prabhupada is saying that this simply research on atoms is not of much use. And these atoms are changing all the time. So this world is not just a different combination of atoms. The world is not just atoms. The plane of the atoms is a very, one says, horrifying plane. Because the plane of the atom is a very horrifying plane. Just like if you look at, if you understand, okay, this body from a biological perspective, purely from a biological perspective, then we can say, okay, this body is nothing but there are cells and these cells are being attacked and there is constant fight which is going on. The germ, bacteria, fungi, whatever, all these fellows are trying to attack and the body is trying to, sometimes there's always war is going on. So that gives a very dangerous or horrifying to always war is going on. There's so many genes which are malinformed. If they open up, some diseases come up. That kind of vision is a very horrifying vision. but one can have a much higher and better vision. So there are these layers of reality. The brute ground force reality, the bottommost idea of reality is a very horrifying conception. But one goes to a higher understanding of reality, then one can be peaceful. So we understand I am not the body, I am the soul. One can be peaceful. Okay, anyway, this body will go away. And because my vision is now being fixed towards the transcendent, and I will get a spiritual body. So in such a in such a state of mind, one can tolerate. Matara Sparshastu Konte, Shitoshana Sukha, Agama Paino, Tyotam Sutikshos Bharata is possible only when one understands not the body. That is the first Krishna said you are the soul. And then Krishna is telling so 2:13 Krishna is telling not the body of the soul. And 2:14 then he says Matara Sparshastu. Because without understanding higher knowledge, there is no question of tolerance. There is the question of tolerance without understanding the soul. If there is no soul, no understanding of soul, everything is goal. Where is tolerance? Now that is one level. Now one understands that everything is belonging to the Supreme Lord. So if one understands, oh, I am not just the body, the soul, but but everything around is owned, controlled by the Supreme Lord, who is my true volition. Then the Lord is telling, oh, this understanding is not just tolerance understanding. This understanding one can be very peaceful. Like that. And then further the Lord explained the understanding of bhakti. When one understands that, okay, and everything is based on Krishna, and one can see Krishna everywhere, and one can offer every situation to the Supreme Lord. Then one can be ecstatic in any situation because one is making a loving offering to the Supreme Lord. So there are these layers of reality. So unless we understand the Supreme Lord, one cannot be peaceful. The atom understanding, one will always be restless, and everything will be always breaking apart, and there'll be always bursting off, exploding, you know, uh, exploding, bursting, like that. So that is why the atomic understanding, all in all, so one has to understand the cause of the universe. The cause of the universe is the Supreme Lord. When one understands that, one can become very peaceful, one can become very ecstatic, and one can become undisturbed by the crests and troughs of this material world, the ups and downs of this material world. Let's read further. This is text 10. Evam Krishna Stulamanor Satya Satjivam Jivam Mantaha Dravya Sabhava Sayam Nana Jaya Vikritam Jyoti says this universe has no ultimate real, has no real ultimate existence. The things within it, shortness, differences, grossness, skinniness, smallness, bigness, result, cause, living symptoms, materials, are all imagined. They are all pots made of the same substance, but they are named differently. The differences are characterized by the substance, nature, predisposition, time, and activity. You should know that all these are simply mechanical manifestations created by the material nature. Purpose, the temporary manifestations and varieties within this material world are simply creations of material nature under various circumstances. Prakrite kriyamanaani gune karmani sarvasham. The actions and reactions carried out by material nature are sometimes accepted as our scientific inventions. Therefore, we want to take credit for them and defy the existence of God. This is described in Bhagavad Gita, Ahankar Dhanyoda Karta Ahamiti Manyate. Due to being covered by the illusory external energy, the living entity tries to take credit for the differentiated creations within the material world. Actually, all these are being created automatically by the material force set in motion by the energy of the Supreme Personality of God. Therefore, the ultimate cause is the Supreme Person, as said in Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Paramakrishna, Satchidananda Vitu, Anadinadina Govinda Sarvakarana Dharana. He is the cause of all causes, the ultimate cause. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya said, Evam Sarvam Tat Prakritvayahi Kalpitam Vishnuramya Evam Prakritaya Dharana Swayam Anyadharo Vishnureva Atam Sarvashtakasya Tasmineva. Actually, the original cause is Lord Vishnu. But out of ignorance, people think that matter is the cause of it. राजभोक्ताश्रयो भूमिः शरणं चेति लौकिकः व्यवहारो च न तत्सत्यम् तयोर्ब्रह्माश्रयो भिक्खु. Things are contemplated on the ephemeral or the external platform, but actually this is not the truth. The actual protector and shelter of everyone is Brahman, the Supreme, not the King. भूपत्रे तस्य प्रकृतिस्तस्य विष्णु स्वयं प्रभु तवा भूपत्रे च पृथ्वी न त्वां भोक्तशितेश्वर अतः सर्वश्रेयस्यैव भोक्ता च हरे ईश्वरः सर्वशब्दाभिधेयश्च शब्दवृत्ते भारतम् सर्वान्तरः सर्वमहि एक एव जनार्दनः. The actual protectress is the material nature, but Vishnu is our Lord. He is a Lord of abilities. Lord Janardhan is the director, both externally and internally. He is the cause of the function of words and what is expressed in all sound. Sirasudha yatvat grivayas tadvadevatu Ashrayatvam cha gopatritvam anyesham upacharatah. That Vishnu is the resting place of the entire creation. Brahmano Pradeshna, Gita 14:27. On Brahman, everything is resting. All the universes are resting on the Brahmajyoti. And all the planets are resting on the universal atmosphere. In each and every planet, there are oceans, hills, states, and kingdoms. And each planet is giving shelter to so many living entities. They are all standing on the earth of feet and legs. Torso and shoulders, but actually everything is resting ultimately on the potencies of the Supreme Personality of God. Therefore, is known ultimately as Sarva Karana Karanam, the cause of all causes. There's a very beautiful explanation here. It says that this universe has no real existence. So because the universe itself has no real existence, And the universe itself is just a temporary manifestation. Therefore, all the concepts within this universe are of no meaning. So how does it matter something is more gross, less gross, more skinny, more small, more big? Whether something is the result or whether something is the cause. So the entire concept of material world is an illusion. And therefore, building a universe within that concept doesn't make any meaning or doesn't carry any meaning. That is the beautiful point we're learning here. So they are all parts made of the same substance, the earth. That is the point here. So that means that this is better, this is worse, this is good, this is bad. All these are illusory concepts. Because everything is the same thing, earth. So whether this manifestation, that manifestation. It doesn't matter, it's all the same. Like sometimes people are very fussy about the shape of a chapati, say for example. This one is round, this is Australia, this is Kolkata, Singapore, different designs. Whatever the design of the chapati, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. It's all the same. So that kind of differentiation, illusory differentiation. Similarly, people differentiate. Was a good person, bad person. It's okay, fair skin, very good. No, dark skin, bad. No, like that. This is skin disease. The skin disease, good person, bad person. The Shastras are telling material world, all bad. No good. Material world, all bad. Now within bad, we are differentiating less bad, more bad, both are bad. Just like this. So, so material world, exploitative person is exploitative person means exploitative person, and so the differentiations are no meaning. Like suppose the three people coming, everybody is going to give poison. No, one comes and one comes and administers poison directly. By inserting say a sharp or syringe or something. No, so very dangerous, bad, very bad person. Uh, uh, Another person comes and speaks some exciting words, and then all of a sudden, small syringe he puts, a little bit touch and the poison is given. And third person makes you feed a lot of cakes, pastry, pizza, everything, and you're having very nice time, and then you're fully fed and the stomach has become triple the size because eaten so much, and one is lying down, uh, and one is fast asleep, then he gives, Ultimately, everybody is killing one, one and the same. Is it not? So that is why we can understand here that everything, so our sense of discrimination and dissection of this material world is all imaginary because everything is simply an illusion. It's just one manifestation, another manifestation, all the same thing. Plastic wrap, glass wrap, steel, tin can wrap, all the same. The temporary manifestations. So therefore, this universe, in all its different variegatedness, is having the same substance, the misery. And therefore, getting out of the material tabernacle or this material affairs it should be the prime duty of every living. And then Srila Prabhupada is explaining the purport very beautiful. Prabhupada is saying that, okay, now yeah, in this material world, all these affairs are actually carried out by material nature. But people think that is their creation. Ahankara vimudatma karta ham iti manyate. Ahankara vimudatma karta ham iti manyate. So a foolish person, not having a shastric vision, a very shallow vision, such a person thinks I am the doer. So people think I am furthering I am furthering. This is me who is deciding. This is me who is doing it. But actually, everything is being done by the material nature. So basically, the living entities go where the material energy has been. They don't go anywhere else. Person is thinking, no, no, no. We have evolved and we have advanced to bring about a civilization like this. No, 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 no. Material energy has done us and kicked us to make us into this fallen condition of life. How is it possible? How does the material energy do that? Because whatever the material energy wants, the living entities to take up, she keeps showing that. And some such so-called intelligent person observes it. And he says, hey, this was not visible before. क्योंकि मेटल एनर्जी ने पहले दिखाया नहीं था ना, because previously it was not a good test. तो ये तमोगुनी चीज दिखाई नहीं थी. This tamoguni effect, this rajoguni effect, this tamoguni principle pattern, metal nature had not highlighted and zoomed, so it was not in our visible. The metal energy showed it. ये देखो ये principle अच्छा है नहीं? And the people pick it up. Person thinking I am inventing. No, metal energy is just automating her work. That's all. At the point, people think I have discovered atom bomb. I should be given Nobel Prize. You know? Hey, Baba, you have not discovered atom bomb. You know? The metal energy wanted to create some destructive automation. So the metal energy is showing, inspiring some people to look here, this is very good something here. You know? So what is there? What is there? Oh, bomb, boom. You know? So, प्रकृते क्रियमाण गुणे कर्म अहंकार विमूढ़ कर्ता हम. So the Ahankar Vimodatma is thinking, I am doing it. I have created this atom bomb. You see, it's my invention. I have created biological weapon. My invention. Arey, fool, not your invention. The metal nature just highlighting. And therefore, you see, most of the technology is coming up today very destructive. Why destructive? So that is what the metal energy is showing. Just to automate her process of dealing and handling with the degraded population of the Tamoguna, Tamoguna, Rajoguna population. So whatever metal energy shows us is what we get. Is it? So sometimes parents, whatever they have is what they have. And what they have, they show to the child and they say, okay, you see this? This is so nice. No, this is so nice. The child says, yeah, yeah, this is very nice. Like because that is the only option which is being shown to the child. Like that. So the child develops a liking for it. That is the point. Just like I remember, unfortunately, our life, our family, they were all non-veg. So they used to show non-veg and they used to say, it's very nice, very tasty, very tasty, very tasty, very tasty. Take it, very tasty, very tasty. Yes, tasty. You know? Or tasty, you know? Nasty, you know? Horrible. Like that. But that is the only thing you just show. So in childhood, people used to ask me what is their favorite dish. But because I was told some particular non-veg item very tasty, very tasty, very tasty, so I also felt okay, tasty means that. Favorite dish means that, so I would put that. Ahankar karta. This is how we are deluded. Very deluded. Like that. So we think that my choice. It's not my choice. Material energy is showing us. See this, see this, see this. Ah, I want. Yeah? That's how it is. That's all that is. Actually. So this material world is like that only. It's a show business. What we show, people take it. Therefore, we should show proper books to everyone. I should tell them, very nice, very nice, very nice. Yeah? People take it. It seems to be nice. Yeah? Like that. And when they read it, then they will really understand how it is so nice. So whatever we show, people accept. This is the principle of material. And that is the principle Prabhupada is highlighting here. That we have not invented anything. It is the material nature which is showing us. So therefore, Prabhupada says always that we have all our technology simply accelerating the death of misery. Previously, misery was no, it would take less time. I mean, to become miserable. I mean, more time to become miserable, and more time it would take to death. But now everything is faster. Everything is faster. So the diseases used to come at age 50, come at 28 now. You know? Double the rate. That is our advance. So because the metal nature is only showing destructive. Now all the destructive things, that's all what the metal nature is showing. And that's all what we are embarking on. And we think we are advanced. So therefore the demigods simply keep looking at Kali Yuga creatures like us and keep having a nice laugh. No? See the fools. They are thinking they are very intelligent. See the foolishness. That's the point. Let's read further. So Krishna is the cause of everything. But because one only keeps looking and fluffing around in the material flavors, one thinks that uh, the material variability is the cause. Look at the unfortunate situation. So we'll read further. This is text 11. 5, chapter 12, text 11. Jnanam vishuddham paramatmam anantarantam avahir dhamma satyam pratyak prashantam bhagavat shabda samajna yad vasudevam kavayo bhavanti. What then is the ultimate truth? The answer is that the non-dual knowledge is the ultimate truth. It is devoid of the contamination of material qualities. It gives us liberation. It is one without a second, all pervading and beyond imagination. The first realization of that knowledge is Brahman. Then Paramatma, the super soul, is realized by the yogis who try to see him without grievance. This is the second stage of realization. Finally, full realization of the same spiritual knowledge or of the same supreme knowledge is realized in the supreme person. All the learned scholars describe the supreme person as Vasudeva, the cause of Brahman, Paramatma, and others. But in the Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said, Yat Advaitam Brahman Manishad Tadapi yasya tanu. The impersonal Brahman effulgence of the absolute truth consists of the bodily rays of the Supreme Personality of God. Ya Atmantarayami Purusha iti suswa amsha vibhava. What is known as Atma and Antaryami, the Super Soul, is but an expansion of the Supreme Personality of God. Shadaishwarya Purnam Yaiha Bhagavan Saswayam Ayam. What is described as the Supreme Personality of God, complete with all six opulences, Vasudeva. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not different from him. Great learned scholars and philosophers accept this after many, many births. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. This is Bhagavad Gita 7.19. The wise man can understand that ultimately Vasudeva Krishna is the cause of Brahman, Paramatma, and the Super Soul. Thus Vasudeva is Sarva Karana Karanam, the cause of all causes. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam. The real Tattva, absolute truth, is Bhagavan. But due to incomplete realization of the absolute truth, people sometimes describe the same Vishnu as impersonal Brahman or localized Paramatma. वदन्ति तत्त्वविदस्तत्त्वं यज्ञानम् अव्ययम् ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति भगवानिति शब्दते. From the very beginning, Srimad Bhagavatam says, Satyam Param Dhimahi, we meditate on the Supreme. The Supreme Truth is explained here as Jnanam Vishuddham Sattva. The absolute truth is devoid of material contamination and is transcendental to the material qualities. It gives all spiritual success and liberation from this material world. That supreme absolute truth is Krishna, Vasudeva. There is no difference between Krishna's inner self and outward body. Krishna is Purna, the complete whole. There is no distinction between his body and soul, as there is between ours. Sometimes so-called scholars, not knowing the constitutional position of Krishna, mislead people by saying that the Krishna within is different from Krishna without. When Krishna says, Man Manabhava, Man Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. So-called scholars advise the reader that it is not the person Krishna to whom we must surrender, but the Krishna within. So-called scholars, Mayavadis, cannot understand Krishna with their poor fund of knowledge. One should therefore approach an authorized person to understand Krishna. The spiritual master has actually seen Krishna, therefore he can explain him properly. Tadvidhi pranipati pariprashnen se upadeshyanti te jnanistattvadarshinaha. Without approaching an authorized person, one cannot understand Krishna. Everyone is tossing around in dualities. And because of dualities, everyone is bound. Because of these dualities, everyone is bound. So when there is one side of the polarity, one likes it. When that quantity or the intensity increases, one starts getting tortured by it. So one wants the other way, the other side, the other polarity. When the other polarity comes, one is very happy. But when it increases in intensity, again one is miserable. Like say, for example, when it's winter, one will say when summer will come. When it is summer, one will say when winter will come. So summer very good if it is very mild. Winter very good, but if it is very mild. But any side of the polarity doesn't remain mild. It goes wild. That is the point. In this material world, nothing is mild. Everything goes wild. No. Therefore, uh, so therefore one is tortured by any side of the polarity. This is the problem with duality. So that which is non-dual, that which is beyond the cycle of duality, is eternal truth. And then it is being explained here that this truth is understood in three phases: Brahman, Paramatma, Atma. So Brahman, the eternal aspect; the Paramatma, the localized and all-pervading aspect; and Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of God. The topmost realization being the Bhagavan realization. So this realization comes after a long time. As it is. Mama Janmani Janmani, after a long time, one can come to this understanding that Vasudeva Samamati, Samahatma Sudhivula, a rare soul after long time will realize that Lord Vasudeva is there. But this realization we can get by hearing from the devotees of the Lord. Therefore, Prabhupada concludes the purport by saying, Tad Viddhi Pranipadena, that we approach a bona fide spiritual master, authorized devotee of the Lord, an authorized person, one can very easily understand Krishna. But if one does not, then very difficult to understand Krishna. That is the point. Let's read further. Text 12. Rahuganai tattva samyati Nachejaya nirvapana grihadava Chandasanaiva jana surye My dear King Raghuvan, unless one has the opportunity of to smear his entire body with the dust of the lotus feet of the great devotees, one cannot realize the absolute truth. One cannot realize the absolute truth simply by observing celibacy, brahmacharya, strictly following the rules and regulations of household life, leaving the home as a vanaprastha, accepting sannyas or undergoing severe penances in winter by keeping oneself submerged in water, or surrounding oneself in summer by fire and the scorching heat of the sun. There are many other processes to understand the absolute truth, but the absolute truth is revealed to one who has attained the mercy of a great devotee. Purpose: actual knowledge of transcendental bliss can be bestowed upon anyone by a pure devotee. Vedeshu durlabham durlabham. So one cannot attain the perfection of spiritual life simply by following the direction of the Vedas. One has to approach a pure devotee. By the grace of such a devotee, one can understand the absolute truth of Krishna and one's relationship with him. A materialistic person sometimes thinks that simply executing pious activities and remaining at home, one can understand the absolute truth. That is denied in this verse. Nor can one understand the absolute truth simply by observing the rules and regulations of brahmacharya and celibacy. One only has to serve the pure devotee. That will help one understand the absolute truth without fail. बिना महत्पादर योगी से कम. So here it is being explained very beautifully that only from a devotee of the Lord we can understand the absolute truth. The absolute truth cannot be understood by our own endeavors in any possible way. So here the example of Varnashrama has been given, and neither by celibacy nor by leaving the home nor by taking sannyas one can understand the absolute. One can only understand the absolute truth by serving the devotees of the Lord. And the devotee never wants service for them, they just service of Krishna. So only by serving the Supreme Lord in this way, under guidance, can one realize this absolute truth. Now, how much you like the principles of rules and regulations of Granth, Vana, Prastha, Sanya? That's a great point. The point is, the Varnashrama is the facilitation platform. Varnashrama is the facilitation platform. But if the person has no goal and no knowledge, the facilitation becomes meaningless. Like somebody is a master, and such a person can facilitate somebody who wants to study maths. But that is the point. Facilitation can be avoided, or facilitation becomes meaningful when there is a certain goal. Then only the facilitation becomes meaningful when there is a certain goal. If there is no goal, then the facilitation becomes meaningless. Like say, for example, trains can facilitate one in traveling from one place to another. Planes can facilitate one in traveling from one place to another. But which person will get facilitated? One who has a short, proper plan of where he wants to go or she wants to go. Or somebody doesn't know where he or she wants to go and just wants to try out that what happens, and we'll see later. For such a person, that facilitation is not working because there is no goal only. Just like train goes to a destination station and come back. So somebody just wants to keep sitting in the train, he'll go somewhere and he'll come back also. So ultimately, he is not benefited from the facilitation. Why? Because he has no goal only. There is no discrimination, no goal. So therefore, the Varnashrama, the celibacy in itself is of no use. But somebody wants to go back to Godhead, celibacy will help him focus and enhance his bhakti. Vanaprastha sannyas, no use for a person who does not want to go to Krishna. If somebody wants to go to Krishna, it will accelerate one's going back to Godhead. So facilitation is meaningful when a person has a goal. If somebody is hungry, and a food provider will be taken with great gratitude. Oh, providing food. Thank you very much. Somebody not hungry, even if the other person is providing 20 items variety, that will not be much use. So in the same way, all austerities, penances, renunciation, everything is meaningful only when the goal of a person is to go back to Godhead. If the person has no such goal of going back to Godhead, all this facilitation becomes meaningless. So therefore, the material energy also acts to facilitate the living entity's journey back to God. That will be realized, and that works very nice when the living entity wants to actually go back to God. In every situation, the material world will give a force, a kick, a push, pull, push to go back to God. That is the point. So therefore, Prabhupada is saying a materialistic person sometimes thinks that simply by executing pious activities and remaining home, one can understand absolute truth. No, one has to serve the purity. Then one can understand the absolute truth without faith. Vina Mahat Pad Tajogi Shekha. Yatrottama Shloka Punam प्रस्तूयते ग्राम्यकथा विगथा निषेवयमानः अनुदिनं मोक्षो मतिं सतिं यच्छति वासुदेवे. Who are the pure devotees mentioned here? In an assembly of pure devotees, there is no question of discussing material subjects like politics, sociology. In an assembly of pure devotees, there is discussion only of the qualities, form, and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is praised and worshipped with full attention. In the association of pure devotees, by constantly hearing such topics respectfully, even a person who wants to merge in the existence of the absolute truth abandons this idea and gradually becomes attached to the service of Vasudeva. The symptoms of pure devotees are described in this verse. A pure devotee is never interested in material topics. Sri Chaitanya Prabhu has strictly prohibited his devotees to talk about world matters. One should not indulge in talking unnecessarily about news in the material world. One should not waste time in this way. This is a very important feature in the life of a devotee. A devotee has no other ambition than to serve Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God. This Krishna consciousness movement was started to engage people 24 hours daily in the service of the Lord and His glorification. The students in this institution engage in the cultivation of Krishna consciousness from 5 in the morning to 10 at night. They actually have no opportunity to waste their time unnecessarily by discussing politics, sociology, current events. They will go their own way. A devotee is concerned only with serving Krishna positively and seriously. Okay, so let's stop here for today. We'll continue reading further in our next class. Namaskar, Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Prabhupada Ki Jai.